Okay, here we are. Welcome, everyone. I want to introduce you to a new friend that I just met a couple of weeks ago. I was invited to a webinar evening of celebration by my good friend Scott Katamas. And in this celebration, there was one after another of very powerful and potent spiritual luminaries, guides in consciousness and love. And then I was there. And then Evalena came on. And I had missed just the beginning of who she is. I had stepped out of the room. I came in and then I sat down and I'm waiting my turn and I'm listening. And all of a sudden, my body, my being just drops in. And I just received this pure transmission of the goddess force of great wisdom and knowingness, embodied knowingness. And for me, spiritual ideas are really interesting and spectacular, but to meet with reverence someone who has the embodiment of this for many years. She's a tantric master, a teacher for many years, a spiritual guide and mentor to many people, renowned people, and she's here with us today. So let me introduce to you Evalena Rose. So welcome.
Mm, thank you, Satya. It's great to be here. Beautiful. I loved your response to my sharing that night. And when you came on, I went, whoa, wow, there's a lot of life force in this one. So I'm really pleased to be here with you today.
Thank you. Would you be kind enough just to share a little bit about who you are, how you serve in the world, please?
Okay. Well, I've been in a private practice for 42 years. I found I'm unemployable, and so I'm an entrepreneur. And I just keep evolving more ways to serve. Started with what I call meta therapy, which, because I've never gotten licensed, I do too many weird things for that. It's very metaphysically based therapy. And then what evolved is from massage to energetic healing and then channeling. And from the beginning, I went, I don't think I know enough to be alone in the room with people. And I took all kinds of workshops, and one was meeting my spirit guides. And that led into this amazing thing I have now for 36 years of being a channel for the Council of 12, being able to sit with these ascended masters and bring through wisdom and have these amazing experiences myself.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, obviously, we're in this time of COVID, quarantine. It means so many things to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And I would really love to get what's your understanding and sense of what is going on here for us as individuals, for us as society, for us as a global family, on all levels that you feel to share from, please.
Well, it's happening on all levels, that's for certain sure. I think for many people who've been doing their spiritual work or their healing work, it's a spiritual awakening, it's a global awakening, and it's this great pause. And I think of it as liminal times. Liminal times are the times between what was and what will be. And they're times where all the transformation comes from. So there are those that are in a lot of fear and anxiety for good reasons. And the illnesses and all of that is true. And at the same time, I feel there's a call in this to, we call them light workers or people who want to be a part of evolving a higher reality. I think there's a cusp that's happening where we could actually lift things up and take things to a level of kind of the world we want to live in. And that I think means that we use this pause to really deepen and find ourselves, and we let go of the distractions and discover who we are and journal, meditate, whatever. For me, it's get online and serve. I feel like I have an online ministry that just needs my presence. That as an elder, here I am for what I have. Yeah. And, I've heard for years in working with the Council of 12 through a channel that there could be a time where the realities diverge so much that it's like there's an earth that belongs to those who want to destroy it, and an earth that evolves into a higher consciousness. And I think we may be at that time. So I want to vote for this.
Interesting. In my metaphysical understanding, we actually are infused in and living multiple dimensions, multiple infinite realities. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, scientifically, can we prove this? Who knows? But on a subjective level, my experience is that there are infinite doorways, infinite potentialities right here. So in the sense, there's 7, 8 billion worlds right now,
Yeah.
and that we're co-inhabiting like a pie, different layers of the pie, but the pie in a totality makes for this feast, makes for this great pie. So, yes, there's this experience of those in a contracted, more fear state, alarmist state of being. And as we know, as guides, there's a spiraling down in energy that happens. Can
Mm-hmm.
you share about that? Um, how basically, what are the forces? What's happening in the realm of fear spiraling down? And how can we work with that? So rather than go down those roads of self and global annihilation, destruction, I'd like you to share a little bit more about that, please.
You know, I got a clue about that the day that we met online at the global during the global peace meditation that was worldwide. And the imagery I loved, which was bringing in light from the central sun through all the central suns, through the galaxies into the central sun of our galaxy, into our sun, and into us, and into everyone on the planet. Because what I've learned being an empath is I can't send my light out there and try to change anything because I get polluted by it. I have to really focus on being my light, being that center, and calling it to move through me, calling it to move to the planet, calling the realms to bless everyone on the planet. When I finish every channeling, I always finish it with, and may the realms of light bless every being upon this planet, bring so much light that all beings awaken to the light, to the love in their heart and the God within, or the one within. And I think that's what we pray for. So everyone has the opportunity. And then they get to choose where in the realities they decide to live. And I agree, there's always multiple realities. I think we've all had the experience of, oh, I made it. I feel so good. I'm in my life. Days I've just been here. And then we collapse back into third dimension and our worries and our fears, and we lose that place. And we can bring ourselves back to it, or we can say, beam me up.
And so, if I may ask, this Council of 12, can you share more about who they are, what they represent, where they stay? Is it like the etheric Hilton or what, like?
Oh, I think they like to float through the universe too much to stay in any one place. They seem to be very multidimensional. They're one of the ancient councils of light, and there are several councils of light. Council of three, council of five. The numbers are really metaphorical because it's a rotating group of guides. There are some that are always with us, like Babaji is almost always with us. Metatron, sometimes Saint Germain, Yeshua, Christ works with us. Sometimes Mary Magdalene, often Aphrodite, Kali when we need the big guns. And we call in Divine Mother often for healing with people, Kuan Yin to absorb suffering. So we call whatever beings are important for the person that we're channeling with or the situation. And it may change. We might be, like a little while ago, helping someone heal early childhood stuff and then talking marketing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you
So,
can go, they share and express across all domains from three-dimensional pragmatic application business all the way to multidimensional awareness and awakening.
right. Because they're really here for the evolution of the species. And if they help someone build a business that requires them to step into their power and their light, they're evolving. That's serving everyone.
Yes. So really, there is no distinction between spiritual and temporal when you're aligned in the heart.
That's right. And that's the fulcrum. When you're aligned in the heart and you're grounded, then you've got all the resources of earth, but you're grounded enough that you bring in the light and can use it in really practical ways. So I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart, and I'm Aquarius. So, I work with the big picture, but I want to bring it in and ground it. I want to make it practical. So people's lives change. It's not just, well, those are great truths, but, right now I got to make the rent. It's okay. Let's talk about rent.
Interesting. Yeah, I never got it that way, that the masters, these divine beings, are actually there for what's needed in the moment for oneself.
Yeah.
That when I hear that, I actually open up, I actually feel an opening, an opening energy, because I had it more as a higher structural infusion rather than a pragmatic here, here in
Yeah.
house space.
There are realms that do more of that infusion, but they really encourage partnering with spirit. That, we and they are all parts of the divine, and when we operate in partnership, then we're moving on our path more directly, more at the heart of our path. And that's what it's about. So the details of, yeah, we can help you make money for rent this month, or we can support you in becoming a worldwide speaker or whatever. Those are the details, but it's when people are moving toward their authenticity and their soul's development, then the realms are like, okay, what do you want? How can we help?
So in this time, there's so much talk that I've seen of nefarious intentions,
Mm-hmm.
dark forces, human greed, control, subtle dimensions that might be feeding on our fear,
Mm-hmm.
feeding on these lower energies and gaining strength. And then there's the metaphysical perennial wisdom that rather than put attention on all of that, we have to purify within ourselves those resonant parallels. If we see darkness out there, is there a smidgen within here? Could you share about that? Is that still valid right now? Or should we actually work on ourselves? Yes, and also work on getting those places and people and organizations and institutions out of power and installing people who are connected to higher meaning and higher love. So, what's your sense of all of that?
Well, it's certainly something that I've also been just trying to get my consciousness around. Of, my primary question often is, what's mine to do? And, I can imagine joining forces and doing something about 5G. That feels like the biggest scourge of late. And then I notice that it's just one after another scourge. So I don't get it that it's mine to do that. But when I see something, I go, Goddess, can you get some people on that? Can you empower people to change that? And by the way, we want this wisdom to get to the people who make the decisions, so that some people who have that power can say, no, I don't know how you're going to do that, but I call for however many miracles are required for that. So for me, what's mine to do is work with it from a prayer place. So when I hear news, I hear something I don't like, I go, no more of that. We don't want that on our planet. Not on my watch. I feel it has an effect. I don't think it's the same as being out there in the trenches, and that's somebody else's to do. I do want to empower those as much as I can, but I also feel, there's a bell curve in everything. Someone's got to be way out here looking at what's next. Where are we going? How do we get there? And I want to empower people who are working in these levels and working for good. But I feel I'm called to go, what's next? How are we going to deal with this if we don't change it? So, working with the Council of 12 lately has been fascinating because some of them have been really busy. I didn't know Ascended Masters could get this busy. But they've been really busy. They've created a project for themselves of finding a way to work with the DNA of humans to help it adapt to these higher levels of EMFs so they're not disabling. They've been doing research. You might say they're in clinical studies. And they actually did the adaptation in me the other day, and I like it. I feel brighter.
Share more about that. I'm curious. An adaptation inside yourself, like
In the DNA.
yeah.
Yeah, you can actually, I actually studied a workshop about this long years ago, and then I make it mine and work more and more with the council on it. You can make shifts in consciousness by going into the DNA and clearing ancestral linkages. And we have something we call the codes for dehumanity. We're actually linking up new levels of DNA, the ones that got disconnected a long time ago. And we'll clear like addictive histories. Sometimes we've been able to clear things from other lifetimes out of the DNA and to, you might say, maximize it, to help it function more optimally so that it's more current time. I think a lot of our path is getting the past and the future's not here and having now, because that's where the changes happen. So it helps the DNA operate more in alignment with who the being is now in this time.
And this is available for all of us, right?
Yeah.
And so this benevolent force, benevolent teachers, guides are here to support us. How can we tap into them? How do we make connection to the forces that are are of higher meaning, who love us and who wish to support us in our ascension?
Great question. We court them. You invite, the simplest thing is invite the highest, brightest, clearest, most radiant beings of light who are available to guide me to come and work with me. It's nice to have an altar, set an altar to it, and sit there when you call them in, and they know how to do it, so you don't have to know. So you call them, and always with an invocation. You call them and maybe light a candle and get still, maybe have something to write or something to record, and then just see what comes through. And the conscious mind gets really busy with, how do you know this is guides and not you? And you go, I don't, please be still. And then they again go, well, this is just you talking. And you say, conscious mind, you're really wonderful. I love you. Ego, you're great. You serve me really well. And right now I want to go where you don't know how to go. So here's a couple pillows. Come sit on these pillows and take notes. We'll talk later. And you give them a task like that, they'll almost always step out of the way. And then you just pay attention to what happens. It's more subtle than people expect. And a lot of people already hear their guidance. But they go, oh, that was just me thinking. Well, was it? Or was it a little more enhanced than you think? And does it have to be them or me? Maybe it's us.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Is it I'm just feeling, is it appropriate to call upon them now to be with us? Do you feel it's an appropriate time? If you do, I'd love if you're able to call them and have them, if they're open to sharing what's here for us today and all who are listening.
Sure. Council of 12?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And would it be valuable that I have that if any people have questions or anything like that, or should we? What's your sense?
That'd be fine. If they want to put questions in the chat, they could.
Okay, so go ahead and those of you who have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll monitor them as best as I can here on my other device here. And please feel free to put in any type of question here, and I'll come up and I'll express them. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's take a moment to center deeply. Everyone who's even listening at any time, let yourself center, flow right into the core of your body and your grounding. Angels and archangels ensure that only beings serving the heart of love, light, and truth may participate in any way. Create a radiant temple of light around each of us as we welcome in the Council of 12, the heart of the light only. Greetings, dear one. We greet you, we bless you. We're honored to be here with you. We feel that our presence on the earth is much needed now. And anyone and everyone can call upon us. The interesting thing about guides is people rarely ask, but we always come. So often there's guides that are kind of going, oh, I could help this person, but we don't want to be codependent. And you can't just say, make my life work. It's a partnering with spirit, it's a collaboration. And so the prayer wants to be a kind of giving permission for us to act in your life. So if you had a radiant board of advisors, what would you tell them to do around your business? And if you had a loving family of elders, what would you ask of them? What would you want to know? And how would you like them to guide you? And who would you like to have hold you? Because we see ourselves as an extended spiritual family of light for each person. And everyone has right to have guidance. A lovely prayer for the earth is, may everyone feel the presence of their guidance through this day and night. May they hear exactly what they need to hear. May they release whatever they need to release. May they receive all the wisdom and insight that they need, and may they find their life becoming magical. That's pretty nice.
Beautiful.
We agree with Evalena that the work now must be done from the core. In order to anchor this brighter future, as many as possible want to really reside in the core of their body, which is where your light is the strongest. And when you live in the whole chakra system, then you're anchored in the current reality, which means you're a point of light on the earth. Some think of it as like an acupuncture point. It's like you just be that particular point of light for the earth. And the more who do that all over the planet, the more the light grid links up. You know, the internet is kind of like the global brain linking up. And as light workers link, and as people join in prayer, and they join in ritual, and they join in consciousness, it's the global heart linking up. And you kind of have to admit that some of the things in that darker version of this earth have very little heart. So the answer really doesn't come from the mental, it comes from the heart. It comes from those, having the courage to really live from your heart, to allow yourself to keep up-leveling and up-leveling and up-leveling. Like, okay, I just got the call to stand alert at the front of the line because someone's got to be here. And it's so interesting because you stand alert, but standing alert is not doing anything. And when you think about so many things like being present at a birth or a dying or illness, sometimes you just want to be present. You stand alert. I'm here. Okay, Spirit. I'm available. Let me know when you want me to do something. I'm listening. I'm a part of this. More and more beings standing alert potentiate these higher realities. So we said being really present in all aspects of yourself, in your chakras within, but also all the chakras beyond. All of these going all the way up, so that you're activating your connection to your soul at these various planes and linking up to your quantum nature. At the quantum nature, everyone really is one. And when each person is creating from that place of, I am a light being, chose to be a human, and I'm a light being, then you might say you're present in the realms where the real changes happen. And it's not like we have an agenda that things have to change. For ascended masters or guides to have agendas is not a good idea. The councils are lighter, whatever, because that's where God is, whatever. But as exalted beings who chose to come into incarnational lives, you want to make the best of it. You know, it's like, and it's not external success in this era, in this pause. It's like, I want to be as much in my evolved self as I can be. I want to show up. So I'm standing and waiting until I know what to do, and I'm not just rushing out to do things. At the same time, there are those who do have what's mine to do is to fight this or fight that or raise awareness. There's a huge educational process necessary on the planet right now. By the way, folks, the way we're going, we could destroy this world. Let's unite to do something different. So we agree with that. And there are those whose task is doing that, and those whose task is to share this bigger perspective, like the two of you are today, that says, when we use this pause for global awakening, there's more potential here than we've ever had for the new world we've been expecting all our lives, and that the Hopis predicted long ago. There's more potential to move the consciousness of the species to where this, some call it homo luminosity evolves, homo luminous, homo noeticus, all means of knowing, being open to these levels. So by really arriving in where the light is taking you, you're at the front edge, helping going this way, folks. This is the way out. It's narrow. You got to sit down and meditate. You got to do your practices and get outside and take care of yourself. But it's this way. This is the way out because it's the way up.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
And that is, those of us who have young children, teenagers, young adults, what can we share with them about this time to inspire them, lead them, direct them? Sometimes the world, in their eyes, might seem, especially young adults I've seen,
Mm-hmm.
some of them experience this and see this as hopeless, and there's too many problems to deal with. There's just way too many fronts that need to be healed and repaired to be, and not enough galvanizing force as a humanity to fulfill that. What can we share with our youngsters and young adults to help and support them to create a positive reality, a new reality?
Excellent question. With children, you teach them about butterflies. You teach them about imaginal selves, that sometimes it looks like everything's going bad because to the caterpillar, it's cocooning. What are we doing? Cocooning. It's cocooning, and it's cocooning to allow something else to evolve. And we don't really know what it is. And the caterpillar doesn't even know about butterflies. And then it goes into this soup and things dissolve and something emerges that's more beautiful and has flight. So we don't know what's emerging, but we know that it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to be here with you. To middle-aged children or teens, you want to help them, in a sense, place it in history. That I know it seems hopeless. It seemed hopeless when World War I broke out. It seemed hopeless when World War II broke out. I remember the AIDS epidemic. It was like, oh my God, the whole world's going to die. It's been hopeless many times. It was hopeless when Hitler came into power. And humankind has found some way to turn all of that into growth. And we've actually evolved as a species, even while we've gone through those times of hopelessness and despair. So I know this seems just beyond repair, and it has many times through history. Humankind has a way of doing that, but I also want you to notice that that's only a faction of humankind. There's all these other factions. So you can look at that and yeah, you're just going to feel hopeless. But you can look at the teachers, you can look at the people who are putting all their work online now. You can look at the luminaries, you can look at the mentors and the guides and what they've done with their lives. And you can look at people who've come through those kinds of wars like Thich Nhat Hanh and become a luminary. So there are many levels to approach it. I would love to support you in exploring some of these other levels because they are also true. It's not denying this is true, but these are also true. And you know what? They're a lot more interesting. And young adults, you almost need to say, I know I want to apologize for my generations. We had lots of opportunities to solve some of these issues, and you're right, we didn't do very good at it. We did inherit them from other generations, and they've been inherited through the generations, and I want to devote this life to stopping that inheritance of pain and turmoil through the generations. So I really want to invite you not to take on mine, but I want to give mine back to those who went before, and I want us to stop living out this chaos in our lives. And I know all those things that cause despair and hopelessness are true and real. And I also know that those who gained the lessons and grew looked at something different. They looked at how can we evolve from here and how can we evolve the species? And really way more people are awake than ever. And this is a time when awakening is kind of the way of it. And now we've linked up all these thought leaders all across the globe. It's available to everyone, people who've never heard these things. So I'd love to put our energy into that and the success of that changing reality.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. That really hits home, especially personally for me.
Mm-hmm.
Children. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Look here at questions that people have. Mike Danheim, how do we safely transition from a world based on falsely perceived scarcity to pure abundance that is here and now?
Well, you've already several steps into it by noticing that it's falsely perceived scarcity. And also noticing that there's a lot of people who make big business out of feeding that sense of scarcity, and you need all of this and this and this and this and this more. So you're always bringing in a little less in your spending. So scarcity isn't so much what's true as this disparity between consumerism and income. So one of the things that's the advantage of this pause is people haven't been able to do as much consumerism, and they're kind of going, I kind of like it when I don't spend so much. I don't need to go out to eat. I'm enjoying cooking. I kind of like it when I'm not buying stuff all the time. I don't need to shop. I can shop in my own closet. And so we feel there's going to be a backing off from consumerism. Although this world that says you need, you must, you have to, is going to get even louder. And so there really need to be voices of, let's stay in this diminished need for filling our lives with things and entertainment and opportunities. And let's rest more because we found it works. So, did that answer the question?
Good. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. My take on that is that as we're destructuring and denaturing our constant consuming energy, and we're having a break from it, we're fasting, if you will, that just even the awareness of that capacity will be more heightened now when this relaxation of quarantine happens. When we go out in the regular world, we become more content with what we already have.
Yeah. And so many people have run their lifestyle based on what they're going to make. And now a lot of them had to go, whoa, if I have to live on what I have, a lot of this stuff needs to fall away. So if people got current to live on what I'm bringing in now, just how different the world would be. Because so many people are enslaved to their purchases of the past and the compounding interest and all those things that are designed really to keep people enslaved. And so this is a time to declare freedom and go, whoa, I don't want all these companies and corporations to determine my happiness. So I need to slow down, spend less, live more simply. And I kind of like it. That's what a lot of people are saying.
I like it too. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
What does Mother Gaia feel now? What does Mother Earth, what is she going through? You see reports of the waters cleaning up. Of course, the skies are cleaning up. I'm hearing more birds than I've ever heard. I feel more chi and prana in the space. I feel nature revitalizing, just us taking a break. My fear, my concern is that we're going to start hurting her again by going back to the old models of everything, micro to macro spending and consumerism. I'd really love to know what Mother Gaia's message is for us. How is she dealing with all of this?
Well, we'll ask her. She loves the pause. Oh, it's kind of like that, kind of like, oh, I can breathe. Oh. She also loves that the human species has gotten in touch with mortality, that it's not imperviable to things that could take away life. It creates a preciousness. If you're around someone dying, suddenly life is more precious. She would prefer less violent ways of self-control within the species. she has quite a tolerance for this species. When you realize it, all she has to do is change the mixture of oxygen and hydrogen in the air, or raise the temperature a few degrees, and there goes humans. So she's got a lot of tolerance, and she's kind of like curious. So what are you going to do now? And because she exists on all these levels too, these levels are like, I'm here. I'm here for you. I know it's tough down there. I know that's hard, but we're indomitable. We will survive. And at these levels, it's like, oh, you're playing with me. Oh, okay. Yeah. Worldwide light beams. I like it. Okay. Maybe we can partner yet. Maybe there is something here. So her message is, if we spoke down here, it was to be, oh, you're doing it worse than ever. But up here, it's like, well, we kind of needed a little sorting out. The house needed to be cleaned. It was getting really dirty. So her wish would be that people really, the thought leaders, really learn the lessons of this time and proliferate them, come out to the world. And that this worldwide heart-centered consciousness get fed and nurtured, because that's what allows these higher expressions to have their life. And for her, that's exciting. It's like, ooh, let's try that. Let's try an Earth with conscious species. She's always very curious, experimental. Yeah, like the divine, The heart of the one being is infinitely curious, or it wouldn't create a gazillion incarnations on a gazillion galaxies all over how many universes? Uncountable. So a being the size of the planetary being lives in that company of the other planetary beings and the galaxies and the star nations, and that's the company she keeps. And then there's this itty bitty creature on her surface that she's kind of watching, going, are you really going to do that to me? Well, let's not go there again. But with the knowledge that some layers might, and some won't ever go there again. And so you put the thought out, what if we lived in a planet that was constantly clearing? More and more clear air and fresh water. Kind of challenge people to that. She's glad you asked.
Let me see what else is here. Is there any other questions any of you have? Please put in the chat box here. I'm happy to ask. Here's one. Interesting. By Sophia Eric. How is Trump serving the path to light in the world or in America? Thank you.
Try to move our camera a little. Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So many ways to answer it. Sometimes it's the fool that takes you to the edge of the precipice. And all journeys begin with the fool. We do feel, and have felt it from the moment he was elected, that the old order is being dismantled. And so much of what has been operational, and this is something else to tell young people, that a lot of this a lot of the ways that power has been misused and misappropriated has been going on a long time, but it's been behind closed doors. And Trump brought it right into the White House. So you get to see when the people who might use everything for personal advantage are right there in full view. It's actually been predicted for a long time that this era of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that was joined by Mars and Jupiter in Capricorn was going to bring to light all the hidden secrets. Well, here we are. So he's serving almost against his will to reveal to the world what's been behind the scenes for so long. And it is helping to mobilize a consciousness of no more. No more. You know, a lot of people have spoken of a new order coming in and a new financial order and all kinds of things. And it always feels like, how could that possibly happen? How could the whole economy be shut down overnight? Who knew that could happen? So there's a signal in this that unimaginable shifts are possible. We do imagine that when you vote for this parallel reality, he becomes less and less important. Because he's really serving this reality that wants to chase its tail forever. The victim martyr, you're doing it to me again, reality. But it wants to come forward. It wants to be seen. It's kind of the end of the Piscean age, beginning of the Aquarian age. The Piscean age began with an apparent sacrifice, a martyr. That so few knew that wasn't really what happened, but that we're all going to live on this sacrificial lamb and hang him on a cross in the front of our church and worship violence. Whoops. So it's a new age, and something wants to evolve out of it that's very, very different. So in many ways, you want to look at him and go, it's all changing, bud. It's all changing. It's all changing, and you may not really understand the change, but it's shifting around you and around power being held by the few into people being empowered. Anadea Judith has an amazing book about the global heart awakening. She calls everyone co-hearts. And it's from the love of power to the power of love. That's the shift. And it's in every element of society. Everything is shifting. That's part of why the pause is serving. It's not that it was divinely ordained. It's really clear something was going to happen to create this big cusp. But it's really serving because when you step out of society, it's easier to think about stepping into it differently.
So we shouldn't even be focusing on what's next until we've totally dropped into the essence of this cocooning and really take advantage of the nurturance, the insight, the awakening potential in this cocooning phase.
Yes, that seems absolutely true. With the caveat that there are those on the front lines now working with the virus. There are those who want to do the activism, and it's theirs to do. But there are those who need to really use this time to let your higher expression evolve so that you can be one that's saying this way out. Yeah. It's interesting about flattening the curve. It's similar in a sense, taking that bell curve and kind of going, let's bring more people this way.
Mm.
Maybe it won't be so hard to evolve now. Maybe it's not a little portal. Maybe it's bigger. Maybe we can expand it. Maybe we can open the way up to more and more people, because the way out is the way up. And grounded. That's what people miss so often. It's woo, but it needs the grounding. It's heaven and earth meeting through you. The core of your body is where heaven and earth meet. And you came to be an earth being, so you might as well connect to earth. What else would you most like to know?
I've been feeling a constellation of wisdom keepers arising, coming together. I keep getting these imprints, these impressions of calling together a circle that Indra's net, gems around the world,
Mm-hmm.
not directors or dictators of the world, but influencers, guides who are infusing the warriors, if you will, the people on the front lines, the ones with the hands, and we're infusing the wisdoms, the nurturance, the consciousness. Can you share about that? Is this a reality that we're moving into? Is it something? Um, there's something that feels really powerful in that.
Yes, yes. The call is being issued. It seems really wise to gather wisdom keepers, and our suggestion is that you gather a small circle and practice, see how it goes. Everybody's sharing, and there may be some of those that you go, not sure that that's quite what I'm thinking. Then you create another circle, and you can add to that the people that feel like they're really ready to work at that level, and another circle, and they create circles. And so it's circles of circles, and then they come together in a bigger circle. Rather than trying to mobilize the world, you do it circle by circle, group by group, and then they link up.
Got it. Boom, I got that.
Download happened.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what's possible in these times. To someone like you, we say a few words and you get the whole download.
Yeah, I'm just reverberating right here. So thank you. Thank you for being here and coming here and incarnating here. Thanks for holding the higher space and the higher vision for humanity and this planet. And all my highest love and honoring and gratitude. Um,
So welcome. It is our greatest joy. This is our passion to be able to speak the words, especially to thought leaders that light them up like that.
Thank you. I
Hmm.
want to I want to just ask you to open up and share in our last few moments here what's there to express, what's there for all of us to listen to.
Hmm. Hmm. Everything that you desire to be resides within you. What you seek, you already are. It's the name of a great book. What you so wish you could achieve, you can if you quit wishing and you call it and allow it. And as we said about this wisdom keepers gatherings, the call's out. Many people would say, wow, I was called to this place. Evalena was called to Asheville, North Carolina. People get called to join other thought leaders and to a place of where you can do your most good. So listen to the call, and it comes through your heart. The heart is really the fulcrum of all the chakras. We often think of the body almost like a lighthouse. And so you've got these upper chakras that are up in the light. And the heart is like the command central part way up that has all the windows where you're operating the light. So when you're really heart centered, you're available to the call, and it's answered by your heart and your soul, your divinity, rather than ego or mind. It's so much simpler. If you notice when you do heart speak, it cuts to the chase. It's like, doesn't need a lot of words. And it's the same when you walk your path. It's, you can see the path, and mind looks everywhere for it, but the heart's right here. Okay. So you cultivate that by really sitting in your heart a lot and calling upon the light to illuminate your heart and guide you from there. The light loves to guide you.
I am so glad I followed my heart. This beautiful connection happened. I'm
Yeah.
so very grateful for you, Evalena,
Thank you.
sharing in your essence and your embodied masterful wisdom. How
Hmm.
can our friends connect with you?
What did you say?
How can our friends connect with you?
Well, how can they connect with me? So I just want to thank the Council of 12.
Hmm.
I'm real expanded when I'm working with them, so I always complete. Thank you. Bless you and bless everyone who hears your words, that their highest destinies evolve with ease, miraculous grace, and elegance. Blessed be. So my website is evalenarose.com. It's EVALENA, evalenarose.com. You can reach me there. I have a wonderful meditation. If you go on the homepage, that is a chakra balancing and healing meditation that takes you into a relationship with the divine beloved and the inner beloved and helps to clear everyone else out of your field. So that's a great gift. I also have right now a mini session that's $47 for a half hour, which I've never done that price, but it's special times. And then I also work with channeling. Some people do channeled business guidance, and they might work every week with the council creating like a um, board of advisors for them, specific guides that work with them in their business. So it's one way I work. I also do the therapy. I do it by Zoom, people all over the world. And if you want to see me directly, I will be doing Sitting with the Divine every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And that's early enough. You can still do it in Europe, 7 or 8 p.m. And it's a free satsang with me and the Council of 12. So people just kind of got a snippet of what that might be like. And we do it in a webinar so people can come in and be seen, ask questions, interact with the council. It's quite lovely. And I usually do an hour, but now I'm doing almost 2 hours because there's so many questions, people from various continents and states. So Tuesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. Um, and I also on my website have a lot of videos. So as I was hearing, I'm always a part of what the council does and listening because I learn. Um, there's a video on collaborating with spirit under
Hmm.
resources. And there's one on activating your light body. And there's a meditation that lets you spiral down your center, deeply ground, come sit in the heart chakra, and create an altar to whatever you're wanting to create. And I have some femifesting videos. And the first one is free, and it's about creating radiant prosperity in your life. So femifesting is a little more than a play on words of manifesting, because manifesting is like you're here and you try to get there. Femifesting, the feminine works with the gestalt, the whole picture. So in femifesting, we get someone really, really grounded, totally in now, and then the Council of Light and their guides bring the highest possible future reality. And because they're really in now, we can get them in their quantum self and they go sit there. And they go hang out in that future reality for a while. It might be several years in the future. And they ask that future self, how, show me your life. And they see all aspects. And how did you get here? And then they merge and bring that competency and confidence back to now, come back into now. And then we have the guides align all their energies with current time informed by that future. So everyone can get one of those for free if they go on the website.
Extraordinary. Thank you so much, Evalena. And I've grown to, in this short period of time, just love you and admire you. All my honoring and a big love and embrace. Well, thank you.
Excellent. So let's just ask everyone to enjoy the embrace of love. Blessed be. I love being here with you. It's wonderful.
We'll do this again, okay?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Allow this to bask over you.